Hey, and welcome back to the Grow Together podcast. I am your host, Kate McCummins, and today we are in a very new location. We are in the Grow Together office because we just had our big launch for the Grow Together Clinic. And so now I am recording an episode out of our office. It's not done yet, but it is slowly getting there. But I wanted to document the process as I was going along because I want to be able to look back at this with you guys and understand how far we've come in such a period of time. So here we are with our first recording in the Grow Together office and in the Grow Together clinic. So thank you for coming along with me. Now let's dive into today's episode because I think that this is one that's really important. I think I say that about every single one, but that's besides the point. This one is important because it is specific to you, and I understand that not everyone is like, hey, I want to build a side hustle by doing more trading, or I want to treat more kids and make more money. If you're like me, sometimes treating more kids can sound very overwhelming, and that is not where I really had a passion. I knew I wanted to get out of the burnout and I wanted to work for myself, and I didn't know much about this field. I didn't know about the opportunities, about what I was walking into. So I want to show you today how if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling burnt out and starting a whole nother practice or a whole nother side gig sounds exhausting, here are some options based on your social battery, because everyone has a different social battery. So let's break that down and let's talk today about finding a niche or finding the next steps that may not involve just starting a practice. All right. So first and foremost, what's your social battery? I know this is like sometimes talked about, but it's basically a fancy way of saying introvert or extrovert. Introverts, we are people that we like to hang out at home. We like to chill. We prefer alone time because peopling can be exhausting. And extroverts is where we are out, we are doing, but peopling like hypes us up. It gets us there. If you are like me, I am an introvert extrovert. I can go and I can use my social battery, but once I'm done, I'm done. So that's kind of where I was. So let's start with a person who can be described as an introvert, but really has that low social battery and really prefers alone time. So let's first talk about side hustles that are for the person with a low social battery and really prefer time to themselves. So my favorite thing is getting on Teachers Pay Teachers and creating and putting out the tools that I'm already using for my practice as a therapist and stuff that saves me time, putting that out onto the internet and getting people to dive in there. I'm actually going to put in the show notes the resources that I use that have saved me so much time on my evaluations, my progress reports, my updated plans of care, all of the things that I use. I'll put that in the show notes below because it has been a game changer. And I'm telling you, I pay for things that save me time because I don't have a lot of it, especially when I worked in the school and especially now as a private practice owner. I need things that are going to save me time. So if you already have these tips and tricks, people are going to pay for time savers. They pay for education that's going to save them time because time is money. Let's be real. So that's where I would start. If you have that low social battery, you don't want to interact with a lot of people, less peopling the better, actually, this is where I would start. Getting on Etsy, getting on Teachers Pay Teachers, and also putting those out on Pinterest. Advertise those on Pinterest, let people see what you're doing, and then let them dive in there. That's a great start. Another great tool that I really like for when my battery is resetting is creating a podcast or creating my YouTube videos like I'm doing right now. Getting something out there where I'm interacting with people, but on my terms. And I'm mainly the one talking and hosting the conversation. This is where I don't have to read the social cues of somebody else. I can just put it out there, educate you, and you take it for what it's worth. I will tell you that these are great. This is a great option because it is a thought-provoking method. This is where you are putting what you know out into the world and you are helping people take your knowledge, and then they start thinking on it. They start saying, well, what if I did this? What if I did my own twist? It's not necessarily that you're putting it out there to change everybody's mind and to educate the entire universe. You're putting out information that is thought-provoking and that is also educational, super helpful, super rewarding, and not a lot of peopling. So I would start there. So next we have the side hustles for like the medium social battery, which I feel like this is where I kind of fit in, to be honest. And this is where I would get into contract work. So we know a lot about this, right? we know a lot about you go into the school, you work your contract, you go into the skilled nursing facility, you work your contract, you leave, you're done. But that is sometimes working as yourself as a 1099 or a W 2. I would encourage you as a therapist, if you are running low and you are burnt out from doing a contract as a W 2 or a 1099, that you start hosting like individual things. You maybe open an LLC, you maybe become a sole proprietor, whatever it is, get some type of protection, but you start utilizing those contracts that you have to flip the script to not work as a 1099 yourself, but to switch it and say, you're going to hire my LLC. So now I work for myself. I'm still doing the same job, but I'm making more money while I'm doing it because now I'm a business. And I am now also making my own hours and not solely working away at what they want, meaning in the middle. And this is a great way to have autonomy while also working towards your next goal or whatever. So I have a step-by-step method of how I do this. You don't have to necessarily leave either one, but you just flip the script and you flipped your position in that job. Same job, same role, flip the script, get more autonomy and get more freedom and get more money out of it. All right. Lastly, we have our high social battery people who are peopling all the time. You seek out those people. And this is such a skill, to be totally honest, because being around people can be a blessing and a curse, and it can be a challenge. So people who have this skill, who can people all the time, you guys are superheroes. I really think that. Okay, so let's dive into what your options are. Obviously, I would first and foremost, I would say let's start a practice. Let's walk through what that looks like for you to transition into a CEO role and own that title and people in multiple different facets through networking, through building, through marketing, all of those different pieces. Let's start there because that's huge. Another thing you can do is start virtually. Get into group coaching, coaching parents, coaching other therapists, which is super rewarding, hosting workshops, speaking at events. I know at AOTA, they are always looking for vendors, always looking for people to talk on their expertise. Schools are looking to have CEU vendors. I would really encourage you to look at that being an option. Being a CEU host, also building a social media presence with brands and helping people get your resources and connecting and staying virtually connected if in person isn't always an option. You could also get connected in your community and start hosting events for children or adults with special needs so that they can come and everyone can be in community. That is such a need. People getting together and creating community, and especially if your personality and your social battery can handle it, that is exactly what I would do, is getting people together. It's one of the best starts. So the bottom line here is that your side hustle or your next big step should focus on your energy, on your social battery, choosing something that constantly picks you back, not something that drains you or just only gives you financial support, but something that fills you in every avenue that you are working in. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining me in my new office and talking about how you can take your next steps, because this world is so much better with your life. This world is so much better with your dreams alive and breathing here, and with a dream that best fits what you are able to do. So I hope this inspired you. I hope that you kind of found some thought-provoking ideas from this, and I cannot wait to see what you do next. Please feel free to email me, message me on Instagram, whatever. Let's get connected and let's get your life moving. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. And until next time, don't do it alone. Let's grow together. Thank you so much.